Name is Kinyofu. My business is Choose to Evolve. And today's topic is the heavy hand of the word. So what I want you to do is I'm not sure if who's on right now, but I'm imagining that you are. So just take this time through my introduction to think about the heavy hand of the word. What does it mean to you? Right? Have you ever heard of it before? And if you haven't, just really go into the words and when you get a chance to type in what you think it means. So, the principle that I chose to speak through is Ujima. And Ujima is in 2 more days. It's the third day of Kwanzaa, and it's collective work and responsibility. That is deepened, the definition is deepened as in to build and maintain our community together and to make our brothers and our sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. Okay, so again, my name is Kinyofu, and I inspire generations of resilience from wombs to classrooms by helping new and seasoned parents get mindfully connected to each of their children in a uniquely unexplored way without pain, stress, and judgment. And I have a parenting class, is Parenting with Ease. And I also am creating a 21-day dash, or have created and promoting a 21-day dash challenge, which I will bring up a little bit later. Anyway, this topic, the heavy hand of the word. So if you're there, please do type in the chat. And I want to know who, well, and oh, also, yeah, so the context of this experience is that it's interactive, which is why I'm like looking for you to share something. And this is the reason why it's interactive is because I learned from you. Like you're getting something from me, but as community, we share and we exchange. So I'm not the only one who knows something. You know something also, and you also come with lived experience. And yeah, so your chat will let me know that you're there, and then we can converse that way. So I'm asking who has ever used words. Now that's a rhetorical question because we always use words all the time, right? And the thing that we want to be conscious of is how are we using those words? So when we use the words, are we using those words to uplift someone or to drop them down? I think it's always a great idea to uplift somebody. Through our pain and our experiences and our past, our history, our own traumas, we might not be there. And if we are there, we might not be there all the time, right? So let's just stop and think about it. And sometimes we will have the intention to say some words that we feel are helpful, but they actually wind up backfiring. And we won't know that they've backfired until later on in somebody else's life. So there's this phrase that I grew up with, and it was a phrase to help children, to help them understand their role and to help the parents be able to manage their lives and their experiences around children. And you might have heard of this phrase. The phrase is, sticks and stones will hurt your bones, but words will never harm you. And in actuality, this phrase is not the phrase that I was thinking about as I was introducing it, but this is a phrase that sets up the child to feel okay in being around other children who might not be very supportive of them. So the name calling, right? So the sticks and stones can hurt your bones, but words will never harm you. If you are hit by a stick or stone, that will hurt, right? It's a physical object that's going to hit on a body part of your body and cause a bruise or maybe some bleeding. And you will feel it. Your nerve endings on your skin is going to have you notice that's not a good feeling. The other part of that phrase, words will never hurt you, Is that true? That's what we're here to discuss. Now, this is a phrase that my grandmother taught me when I was little, and it was logical. It's like, okay, so kids can call me names, they can say whatever they want to say, but it's not going to harm me. And so it had me hold my head up, and it actually has formed my understanding of words and and fed this conversation. So I've been called many things in my life, but I some of them I didn't take personal. Some of them I did. But just the fact that they're just words and they can go over my head and I could choose to do what with them that I wanted to, that held value for me. So the words have meaning, right? So we also understand that. So it's there's a lot that we can do with the words that we hear. And so we want to not get caught up in what we think the other person is trying to convey or trying to get from us when they share some words with us. We really want to focus more on how those words are landing for us and manage ourselves. We can't manage anybody else, but we can manage ourselves. So words can be either motivating or agitating. They can either build or demolish. They can create togetherness or they can create separation. And if you're here, I would like to know how words have landed in your life. Do you remember a time where these words were shared with you that caused the separation, that had a demolishing experience in your life, or that were agitating? Or did you notice that words tell me where words were motivating for you, made you feel good about yourself, built you up, and caused togetherness in your life? Ujima is about building together and solving problems together. So we have these words. These words are very powerful and they can support us in this building of our community and uplifting our family. And it also helps the words that we say to ourselves also help us love ourselves. I was told that I'm too critical of others. Thank you. And that is something, yeah, I actually have a story I want to share with you about that. And it does come from an experience of some words that were shared with me. And but before I get there, I want to say that when we speak, we really like the doctors have this phrase, do no harm. I say we should have that phrase, do no harm. Use your words for good. So some demolishing words that I've heard are you're stupid or you can't do anything right. Something else that you could say instead of that is come here. Let me help you. Right? If a person doesn't know something, it doesn't mean that they're stupid. It just means that they need some help. And it doesn't hurt to need help. It doesn't hurt to want help and it's not a one up type of experience to give help or to be asked to give help. So here's another non-affirming word. The non-affirming word is a demolishing word. It's a separation word or phrase. That's not how you do it, or that's ugly. And I'm talking about a child who might be drawing something or might be trying to wash the dishes or sweep the floor, all right, or whatever it is. What you could say is, I like your creativity. It's amazing how you think out of the box, or interesting way to do that, right? Something else that doesn't work is why would you do that? Or even when I was your age. Now we said I catch myself saying that when I was your age, but what happens is that there's a different era, and when I was your age, it was things very different, and it doesn't mean that when that was right. Okay, words that were very meaningful to me from a late aunt. Take care of yourself. Yes, take care of yourself. Absolutely. because a lot of us don't. The self-care is really important. So what other people might hear is, you don't have time for that. If you're going to go get a massage, who has time for, you got money for a massage, really? Like that type of thing. Take care of yourself. You're laying down still, get up out of bed. There's work to be done. No, you do get a chance to take care of yourself. And yeah, so instead of the why would you do that or when I was your age, you could say, tell me what you were thinking. No, because you're now curious because you don't understand. Person was doing something different than how you were doing it and how you were told to do it, right? So they're thinking something. Find out what that is. And the last that I have, and it could, I can go on, but I'm not. And if you have any to share, you're definitely welcome to do that. So another demolishing phrase is you're stubborn or you're hard-headed or strong-headed, right? How about you're so determined, you're self-willed, or you have a strong vision? Because that's really what it is. People, children, they have children can see, children have understanding of things that we don't understand, and and it depends on their personality. They could be like, I want to do it this way. I want to try to see what happens. You do it that way. I'm going to do it this way because I want to do it. Let them do it. If it works, great. They now have a tool or a way of doing something, and you learn something as well. And if it doesn't work, okay, they discovered it doesn't work. And then they'll see what it is that you suggested. So some words. When I was a child, some of the words that affected me, and you could write down some words or phrases that children called you that made you feel away. So the thing that made me feel away was when a kid would say that I had big feet. Now, I was tall and I did have big feet, so that wasn't a lie. But somehow, well, most definitely, when they said that to me, it wasn't an affirmation of what is. It was to make me feel bad about myself, and it worked. Now, it didn't. If I had this understanding, if I were able to go deeper into the phrase words, sticks and stones can hurt your bones, but words can never hurt you, then I would disconnected myself from their intention. But I didn't understand that. So I got caught up in their drama. Now, what other words that were shared with you, or not shared with you, but yelled at you or told you about you that you took personally? You can type that in the chat. I have this process that in my reflecting on how to observe these words and manage them, it flows for us to be able to process. So it's 5 R's. 2 of them are the same R's. And in reality, reference, response, rate, and reality. I'm repeating the reality from beginning and the end. So the reality, you're checking yourself. Is it true? So kid called me Bigfoot. Is it true? It's true. Okay. All right. Moving on. Reference. At this point, I'm asking, what do I know about that? What does it mean to me? What's my association with that word? How do I interpret it? What it is they're saying? Am I triggered? Where does that trigger come from? So I can't quite say where the trigger came from, but I definitely, the association I had was, if you're saying I'm big feet, if you're calling me out on my big feet, it means that your feet are not big. And if you're making a big deal about it, then that means that I'm different from you. And if I'm different than you, then there's something wrong with me. That's my thought process. So this is my processing the reference part of this experience. And as I'm going through these words, I want you to do the same thing. So the first one is reality. Is it true? The second one is reference. What does it mean? And the third one is response. Now, I could respond however in the world I want to respond. I have that choice. We all have that choice. My response could be to get caught up in that drama and call that person some name, right? And that could turn into a fight. And it has on different occasions. Or I could say whatever and walk away. I'm going back to reality. It's the truth. So what you going to say? What about it? And right? And then the next R is rate. Is it worth it? Is anyone harmed? If no one is harmed, then there's nothing for me to do. If I'm not harmed, there's nothing for me to do. What words are have you heard or shared that were not affirming, where you felt something needed to be done, where you felt that it was worth it? I want you to think about those words, and you can put them in the chat. The last so let me see the rate. Is it worth it? For me, having someone call me Bigfoot, it wasn't worth it. Like, what are you saying? What are you saying, really? Like, that's just a very boring insult. You can't get better than that. All right, reality. Back to reality. Do those words really define the entirety of who I am? You call me Bigfoot. Is that who I am? Am I Kinyofu Bigfoot? No, I am more than these words that you're calling me out on. And I know that. So if I know that, then those words that you say don't matter. They don't bother me. Just brush it off, right? Oh, and there's something else. I want to go back to the response. We could be puppets, being called stupid. Exactly. We could be puppets, or we can choose to be in control of our lives. So the puppet, there's this person that's moving this stick, and the stick is attached to strings, and the strings attached to this person. And so when the strings move, the person's arm does this. So if I'm a puppet, then I'm going to react to what it is that you're saying. So what? You call me Bigfoot? So right. So that you don't have to be that puppet. Now, being called stupid, right? What is your reality in that? Whatever the situation is. Are you stupid? And your answer will probably be like, heck no, I'm not stupid. And we're all stupid in some ways, but we're also very smart in other ways. So we're not always all the time smart. So you could take offense to that word stupid, but you can also acknowledge that the person's just picking on one thing, or they're trying to make you feel bad. But if you know who you are, and if you know that you can do this and you can do that and you can do these other things, and you could probably do these things that's different than this other person, then you can acknowledge that you're not stupid, that you just don't know this thing. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing a thing. You can always learn something. That thing that you don't know, you can learn it. And if you don't want to learn it, you don't have to learn it, but it doesn't mean that you're stupid. Everybody has smart in them. And it's up to each one of us to find out what that smart is. So when you are considering a word that doesn't make you feel good, I want you to think about those five words: reality, reference, response, rate, and then reality again. And all in all, any word that anybody can share with you, you can hear what they have to say and say, thanks for sharing, and let it go. What are they going to say behind that? They said what they said, you received it, and you gave it right back to them, and it didn't bother you. But there are words that do harm. What are some of those words? If you're out there, what are some of those words that do harm? I'm thinking about gossip, right? So gossip is telling a story, saying something about someone to somebody else. And that creates a whole drama experience within the community. So, do you have business in saying anything, talking to somebody else about somebody? No, you don't. It's not your business. Tell on yourself, don't tell on somebody else. And what's the purpose? What are you gaining out of it? But if you're the recipient of the gossip, it's going to feel bad. It's going to do some harm. It creates a snowball effect. It involves you, and involves your family, perhaps, and involves the community, and it's just not a good thing. So, in the concept of do no harm, gossip is doing harm. So, if you can do your best to stay away from gossip, if you hear someone sounding like they're gossiping to you, you can say, I'm not interested. No, I'm not doing this conversation. And if you hear the gossip from someone else happening and you're not involved in it, but you hear it, you can step to them and say, no, that's not a good idea. That's not going to help anybody. Are there any other words that you can think of? So, the N word, that's a word that I've heard in the past as a complaint from people. So, the N word, historically, for our people, it is not a word that has us feel comfortable. It is loaded with meaning that denies who we really are. And however, the culture, the way we are today, we have taken this word and we've made it into an affirming word. It's a brotherly word, and I'm not saying that I like it. I'm not saying that I don't. I'm a little bit ambivalent about it, but to hear it's a word that has been flipped, and we do that with other words too. Can you think of other words in our culture that used to mean something and now mean something else? And we do that. I'm not sure really all the reason why we do that, but I do know that with the N word, that was done so that we can lighten up that experience. We could own it, right? Instead of having it be somebody else in charge of that word and what that word means, we're taking ownership of it. So other words that we've turned upside down are stupid. That's a word that was shared earlier as a word that doesn't make us feel good, but then we've also joked with our friends. It's like, girl, you stupid, right? Not to say that they don't know anything or that they're dumb, but to say that they're just silly, right? Other words that were flipped is bad, because now bad is good. Whereas in the dictionary, bad will say bad is not good, bad is um, distasteful. But in the culture, in the hood, bad is good. And then there's hot. So there's hot to touch, but it also means hot, like sexy, like wow. And there's dope. Well, dope is drugs, illegal drugs. But dope is also, oh wow, that's cool, good stuff. And there's also the word gay. So that word was flipped in a couple of ways. So gay in the dictionary is happy, and back in the day, to be called gay was an insult. Okay, I say all of these without realizing. Okay, yes, yes, that happens. And it's just awareness and listening to the words, right? Listening and questioning. So the word gay was an insult, and it still is an insult. Some people will identify as gay or um, LBGT. They might claim that word and they might not claim that word, and that's a whole nother conversation. But thus them claiming the word, it is taking happy and bringing it into their experience. And we also have the word bitch. So bitch is a female dog. Bitch was an insult. To call a woman that is still is an insult as far as I'm concerned. However, we hear that word in and up through the songs, the rap songs. So sometimes it comes off as an endearing term, and sometimes it comes off as possession and who knows what. And that in and of itself is a whole topic that I can go on, but that will take me off this topic. And another word that has come to mind is fat. So fat and FAT versus PHAT. All right, so this is just how we have played with words over time. Other words, now going back to what the words that hurt, words that come in an emotional manner, emotional abusive manner, I should say. So if someone is talking down to you, making you feel bad about yourself, that's definitely words that can harm. And the intention behind those words coming from those people is to make you feel bad. It's so that they can have control. That's not good. And if anyone is saying anything to make you not feel good, find a way to get them out of your life or speak on it, right? Before running away, you can actually say, hey, I don't like this. These words don't work for me. They don't make me feel good. You have to understand this. And if they can't understand it, they don't need to be in your life. And if you need support in getting these people out of your life or getting you out of their life, then this is definitely the time to ask for help. To receive insults from someone is one thing. To receive insults from someone that you care about is another thing. And if that insult comes from a parent, that totally throws you off of your equilibrium, because your parent is your imprint. They are your first teacher. And what they say about you is who you are. As a child, that's what you believe. What they say about you is who you are. So if they're the ones calling you stupid or calling you any of these words, that's very painful and very lasting, and it will take you a lifetime to release that. If you are that parent to be saying these words to your children, understand that this is quite likely part of your experience, and you never had the conversation to think about speaking in a different way. And that's what this conversation is about. It's like, to take a look at that. Don't beat yourself up, but do understand that you can make a choice and you can do something different. When we are in communication, it's an exchange. So if I'm speaking and my words are landing on somebody, so when that person is receiving my words, they have the choice to do something about what it is I say. All right, I mentioned that before. I'm just showing you the picture of this. This is like a ball game that we're playing. And the phrase that I mentioned earlier, that's going to take me back to what was shared earlier. Okay, this is children should be seen and not heard. Now, when I was a child, I heard this, and what I understood it to mean was that I should stay out of adult conversation. Children should be seen and not heard. Adults would talk around me, and I want to jump in. But if I jumped in, I'd get in trouble because that was their business. And my business was whatever task they put me to do, even if that task was to sit there and be quiet. The question is, when do you stop being a child? So clearly, I was a child at 5. Clearly, I was a child at 10. And almost clearly, I was a child at 15. Right now, it's starting to get a little tricky because now you're older. Obviously, you're bigger, you're smarter, you're stronger, and you might know something more than your parents. So your parents an adult, and you're teaching them something. So, who's the child? Who's the adult? Right? But legally, you're a child. Then you get to be 16 and 17. And now you know it all. At 17, heck, you can't tell any 17-year-old anything. They know it. They know it. They're a year to 18. They get ready to graduate from high school. You can't tell them that they're a child, but they are legally. So then you get to be 18. All right. So when you become an adult, is it when you get 18? When you get 21? Do you become an adult when you get your first job? Or when you have adult responsibilities? There's children who are 10 having adult responsibilities. Does that make them an adult? They're still children. but they're doing adult things. And some of those adult things might be having sex. Does that mean that they're an adult? Certainly it doesn't. Are you an adult when you get married? You might be 20 and getting married. You might be 30 and getting married. And so, yeah, 30, you're an adult legally, but are you mature enough? So when do you know you're a child? I mean, when you know that you're no longer a child? Or is it when you get your first apartment? Now, legally, we are we're an adult at 18, um, but we can't smoke until we're 21, I think. Okay, and so that's still a little ambivalent if you're looking at the ages. My point in this conversation is that there's in this culture we don't have a delineated line to say, okay, you're an adult. And even if you get cross 18, you still have childlike feelings and childlike experiences. At 18, I wanted to still go play in a playground. Like, let's go play. Like just this jovial feeling. Um, playing looked differently. Playing was like playing tag with my friends while we talk about other people, right? Um, and there's okay, so this culture we don't know. And I remember being an adult in my own apartment and still wanting my mother. So that was a little weird, right? I don't want to. I wanted to talk to my mother. I wanted to ask her questions. I wanted her to teach me how to do something. I wanted to just be in her space. But I'm an adult and I can't do that, right? And then there is being an adult and having these responsibilities that you need to do, but you don't feel strong enough to do them. Like like filing taxes. You have these papers, you have these numbers, you have all these things that seem to be daunting. So this is an adult task. You are an adult, but you're not feeling like an adult. When does adulthood happen? Now, in other cultures, there's a rites of passage. Rites of passage takes young people at that verge of childhood, adulthood, teaches them things that they need to know to be adults, and then send them back out into the world as adults with skills. We don't have that in our culture, so it gets a little vague. Now, I say all that to say is that this phrase, children should be seen and not heard, had an effect on me. And the effect on me, not the effect on me was that I wasn't confident. And this is going into my adult years. I wasn't confident, especially around adults, especially around older adults, especially around adults with power, and especially around judgmental adults. I'm an adult, yet I'm not feeling confident around other adults because they act a certain way. The feeling that I'm still a child, or the feeling that the experience that this phrase shut me down in certain ways is what I had to work through. Now I'm trying to remember, I should have written it down, but there was a comment that was made earlier, and I was like, I'm gonna get to that because I have that same feeling, and I think I touched it, but I don't think I got into it. So if you remember what that comment was, please put it back in the chat. And I don't see a thread of chat. I don't see the thread of the chats here. Oh, there they go. All right, let's see if I can find that. Okay, being too critical of others. Yeah. So, um, children should be seen and not heard. So here's my experience. I being that that's what I felt, that I was raised to believe that's what should happen. When I did hear children speaking up and being seen and being heard, I thought they were wrong. I became judgmental of them. So that's my identification of that. I want to share, and I'm going to come back to this to tie it in. Mahatma Gandhi left us these words, and we're going to do a little process with these words. Your beliefs become your thoughts, and you could type them in the chat. You can type them in or write them on your notepad. Definitely take note of these words. So it's six of them. 6 sentences. Your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. Your habits become your values. I'm sorry. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your habits. I'll read it again in a minute. Your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. So I'll read it again. Your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your values. And your values become your destiny. We that stand here right now are the result of our beliefs. We are our beliefs. Have you heard that before? So my question to you is, which of your beliefs ultimately became your destiny? Which of your beliefs ultimately became your destiny? And I'm going to take you through this process as it relates to my experience of the phrase, children should be seen and not heard. So in that phrase, my belief was that I shouldn't be heard. That's what I made up about what I heard. My thought was I shouldn't speak. So if I'm not heard, the way to not be heard is to not speak. My word was, I'll be quiet. No words. I won't say anything. My action, what I did, was I spoke softly if I did have to speak. Actually, it was the action is staying quiet. So if I'm quiet, you can see that I'm quiet. You can see I'm not talking, so I'm doing the right thing. Also hiding, so staying off in a corner. You can't see me. Being that mousy girl. That was my action. My habit, if I did have to speak, someone asked me a question, I would speak softly, right? So you wouldn't really hear me because I'm not supposed to speak. And I would shrink, like I would diminish my words. I wouldn't say a full sentence or have a full thought. Or I would defer to others. Let them speak. They got it. She knows the answer. Have you ever been there? And is anyone following me here? My value, I'm not enough. Right? So, yes, thank you. I'm going to take a drink. Yeah, I'm not enough. Or, and this is the point that I was going to relate to, is I am judging others who speak up and speak out and speak loudly because they're going off course. My destiny is not being a good advocate for myself or my family, living under the radar, not living my true self, not living full out, second guessing myself, and I'm not in service to myself or to others, like the community. Now, obviously, I transformed that, but excuse me, there's always more to transform. So I am confronted with elements of that every now and then. But the fact is that I'm clear and I understand where it came from and I understand what I could do. So I'm no longer living that destiny. I've created my own destiny because I've transformed and I've changed. What is there to transform for you? So if you heard me speak, and I can see a few people in the chat, so go ahead and write in the chat what there is to transform for you, what you're getting out of what I'm saying. I'm gonna take another drink of water. Okay, so I'm not sure if you're typing, but I'll definitely say this is that if, and you might not even be in the space to really process, but when you do get a chance, you can always reach out to me and I can help you process. As Athenia mentioned, I'm a coach as well, and I will give you my contact information for you to follow up with me. And I'm gonna okay, big savvy artist says more confidence, self-esteem, and self-love. Yeah. So do you have any idea what the root of those are? Where you remember our destiny begins with our beliefs. Our habits begins with our beliefs. Our actions begins with our beliefs. Our words begin with our beliefs. Our thoughts begin with our beliefs. So and our beliefs come from somewhere. You may not know, but it's definitely there to figure out. And it's good that you recognize that there's something there for you to go grow through. This doesn't stop here. You get to continue. So I wanted to say that our word is personal. Thank you. There goes my contact information. Your word is personal. Our word is personal. It affects us. And our word is also political because it affects others. The phrase, no man lives on an island, we're not living on an island. No man, no woman lives on an island. An island is surrounded by water. We're not surrounded by water, we're surrounded by people. And what I say is going to affect you. What you say is going to affect me. And that's what makes it political. I'm your model. We are brothers and sisters. We're community. We're here for each other. We're supposed to be. So Biz Savvy Artist says a lot of criticism growing up, also being told to be seen and not heard. Exactly. Right. So these words that we use that were helpful, we thought were helpful, may not be so helpful. So it's really good to examine what we're saying. When you use your word, remember, do no harm. Be impeccable with your word and use your word impeccably. We are responsible for how we impact others. Our impact leaves an impression. So remember that conversation, that ball game that we're playing where I'm speaking? I'm impacting you. So I want to be conscious about what I'm saying. And at the same time, we have responsibility. So if the words are coming back to me, I have responsibility to not let you trigger me into some drama that might get me in trouble. So that impression is a part of our legacy, all right? Our community legacy. That impression can change our destiny. And we each have our own destiny, and we are a community together. So our destinies would be great if all of our destinies were synced together and we could move forward together. But if we have these destinies that are full of stress, distress, and um, disappointments and all this stuff, it just becomes one big hot mess. And we see that in some of our communities. We don't want to continue in that way. Um, so my offer to you is Parenting with Ease 101. And this is a course, it's a 6 session course that I offer for parents, new and seasoned parents. And when I say new parents, I'm talking about obviously the brand new parents, parents of newborn babies. And when I say seasoned parents, I mean parents who have multiple children, as well as parents who are older. So, however old you are, or however many children you have as a parent, there's always a question. There's always something more for you to know, and I'm offering the place for you to come unpack what your parenting experience is. And my parenting class is not about judgment. My parenting class is about creating an opportunity for you to be open to your child, to hear what they're saying, to allow to prevent your emotion from leading you into down this rabbit hole of chaos. And it helps you to look at your behavior as a parent in addition to your child's behavior. Now, again, this experience of the back and forth, or the ball game, is what you and your child are doing. You're having this game, and your child is reacting to what you're saying. So if there is this discontent, there's going to be this upset, right? And it's not going to change. So somebody's got to loosen up first, loosen up, and then have the conversation, and then you all can come together. So parents have shared that they have more calmer moments with their children after taking the class, and they're responding less emotionally, and they're having more, they're understanding their children's feelings more. So let me check the chat. I heard you can't a lot. Yeah. Yep, that's a thing, Aoife. And I did too. You can't, you're not filling the blank enough, right? And I need to work at setting goals, making realistic plans, and knowing when to ask for help. Exactly. And we all do. And so that actually leads me into my 21-day challenge. It's a 21-day dash challenge, and it's for us to look at the goals that we want to create in our life for next year and how exactly we're doing it. Now, I just want to drop that, but I do want to circle back, and maybe Athenia can type this in the chat. The Parenting with Ease 101 class, if you're interested, the date that I have set is January 16th. It's a Saturday at 7:30. And that's the first day of the six sessions. The sessions are once a week. And to register for that, it's bit.ly. Actually, can I chat? Is it probably easier for me to do that? I don't know if I can. But it's bit.ly. I see something I'm chatting in. / uppercase PWE series in lowercase. So I just put that in the chat. And that's to register for the 6 sessions. There's a free session that gives you a sense of what the class would be like, and it's 1 hour long. And I'm having them on Saturdays and Sundays at 7:30 in the evening. So that's the link right there. It's bit.ly / capital PWE lowercase info. And the 21-day dash challenge. And this is what I'm really excited about. It begins on Monday. Monday, we're going to start out with the webinar where we're going to do a meet and greet. And I'm going to share the structure of the process. And I'm going to give you a little mini lesson in that session. You will be launched into the program by getting a lesson that you will learn or listen to or read about, and it'll take 15 minutes a day for you to absorb that lesson and then you will do some follow-up work throughout the day. So every day you're going to get a lesson. It's a video or something to read. And then every day you're going to follow up on the activity. We're going to have a mid 2 week break, not break, but webinar. We'll come together. We'll break in a webinar and see where we're up to see how things are going. And you're going to get an individual coaching as well. We're going to continue with the rest of the 21 days, well, the rest of the 10 days, and then we'll come back for a webinar to celebrate, to check in and celebrate. By the end of the session, you will be able to have to know what your goal is, to have it memorized, and not just memorized, but internalized like you know your name. And you'll be able to know what's next. You will have your next steps in line. So you will feel confident that you're going to accomplish your goal. And I speak to the goal versus resolution, because when you make a resolution, it's like, I'm going to stop smoking, but it's an end process. It's not a beginning. The goals is a beginning. The goal is a beginning because you're creating a target and you're moving toward it, and you're putting action behind it. So yes, I do invite you to join me on this experience, and you can get more information. I'm typing this in the chat. It's bit.ly / and dash sales, all in uppercase. So if you have any questions, it's already 6 minutes to 2. Okay, well, I do appreciate you. I guess I'm probably out of time. But thank you for participating. Do stick around.